Have you ever been flying and you crash, and the first thing that goes through your mind is, crap, did I break my frame? Did I break something? Is my frame broken? Am I gonna have to try and order a new frame from China or something like that? Well, that happens to me all the time. And I actually do break frames. Um, so, what if I told you that you could turn around and have pretty much an unlimited supply of frames at hand for as little as $2 per frame? If you guessed 3D printing, you guessed properly. This is what's called the FlexOwl. I didn't design it. It was designed by Alexi, I believe was his name, on Thingiverse. I found this frame on accident as I was looking for a Source One GoPro mount. And in this video, I'm going to slap this together and we're going to take a closer look at it. Enter the FlexOwl. This little guy right here. This little guy is a 3-inch Cinewhoop that is just I guess you would call it a bi-frame or just a two-piece frame. It's gonna sit just like this. Okay, kind of like a naked bumblebee or a naked Taycan or a naked green hornet. And what I'm actually going to be doing is, and as you can see here, I actually have my green hornet frame. I gutted it. I gutted everything out of it. Here's where that is, right here, completely gutted, and it is ready to be transferred over to the FlexOwl. I came across it, and it's made by somebody named Alexi or Alexi. I'm not sure exactly how he pronounces that. And it's called a FlexOwl because one of the ways that he prints it is actually using TPU. I didn't want to use TPU. To me, it's a little too flimsy. So I decided to not use TPU and I used PLA Plus. And I did a 50% triangular infill. And the weight that I got out of that is, this right here is just shy of 100 grams for this frame. Now, as far as frames go, it's actually pretty heavy. But in order to have the required strength, the rigidity, and the flexibility, it had to be that thick. Now, as far as thickness goes, it's not really that thick, but you're not going to find a whole lot of Cinewhoops that have a 5mm top and a 5mm bottom frame. Most of them are going to be just like this, and they're going to be simply 2mm. The downfall to these is that their frames are weak. Now you look at like a 5-inch, and pardon my 5-inch here, it's actually a little apart. On this one, like the bottom plate is probably 2mm right here. Let's see, yep, 2mm. But the arms are going to be 4 or 5mm. Let's see, 5. The arms are 5mm, and then there's generally another plate on top that is another 2mm. So technically, the frame is 4mm in places that it needs to be, and only 2mm in places where it doesn't need to be to save on weight. But it has, the main part is these arms, and the supports holding the arms are between 4 and 5mm thick. Well, Cinewhoops don't have that. They don't have that luxury because they need to save weight. And most Cinewhoops that are designed like the Bumblebee, the Taycan, the, what are the other ones? The Green Hornet Bumblebee, same thing. They are designed to have these ducts with foam around them in between the top and the bottom plates. And these add not only safety and protection for things around the quad, but also add protection and stability to the frame. And if you look here, you will see that this frame is actually cracked here, it's cracked here, and it's cracked here. And then over here, it's cracked, like, it's pretty much cracked in 2 spots, here and here. And the reason behind that was because I can't stand running them with these things in, because these things weigh a ton. And I even tried to shave some weight off. They work as wind sails as well. So I ripped them out of there because I just didn't want them. And what you get is a nice, lightweight, more aerodynamic, kind of a quad. But the downfall is you look at it wrong and the thing cracks. So I didn't want to sit there and try and buy more and more of those to sit there and do it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to screw around. I'm going to make a video because I've wanted to build a 3D printed drone for quite some time now. And I've actually attempted it a couple times. After I printed it out, I looked at the quad, or I looked at the frame, and I just didn't fall in love with it. So I passed and I didn't do it. But now I am going to do it. And this is the one I'm going to do it with. So as far as weight goes, this weighs top and bottom. Okay, I apologize. I ended up dropping my GoPro. Battery flew out, and it was a whole fiasco. Anyhow, as far as like weight, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem, because with all of these on, it actually weighs more. It weighs, comes in about 30 grams heavier with all the foam and the protection and stuff like that to make that frame much more sturdy. So, that being said, the next thing that I would like to talk about with this is the cost. And I did say $2 a frame. So this comes in at roughly 100 grams. I think it's like 97, 98, right around there. We're just going to call it 100 grams just to make it easy. So with it being 100 grams, most spools of PLA Plus are, let's say, $20, 20 bucks. You know, I think I've seen some for 13, 17, 20, 25, right around there. Let's just average it and say $20 for to make math easy. And they weigh 1 kilogram. So it's 1 kilogram of PLA. And being that this is 100 grams, you can print 10 of these from a spool that costs $20, therefore $2 for an entire frame. And yes, 20 hours to print it. But if you print it every day for 10 days, you got 10 frames. 10 frames that you could use for a very long time. Now, you're gonna crash. Everybody crashes. I don't care how good of a pilot you are, you crash. There's just no way around that. That is FPV life. But when you're flying a Cinewhoop, you're not out there doing freestyle. You're not bashing. You're not power looping or anything like that. And when you do crash, generally you're not very high up. So I'm thinking, with how tough that these actually are, I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of problem. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue with this breaking that easily. Maybe if I hit something like a corner of a wall or something like that, and I hit it just right, yes. Now, the designer of this was actually pretty intelligent. If you look at the design of this. So right here, and the areas that you're generally going to hit, and if you look at my quad, my other quad here, for the most part, both of them are kind of, you know, cracked here, back here too. I don't know how I did that one, or even, well, I got a crack right there. But generally, when you're going to smack into something, it's generally going to be a front impact or a rear impact. Now, if you're running a GoPro on this, generally the GoPro is going to be on the front, it's going to make it nose heavy. So if you do lose kind of control, generally I would say majority of the time you're going to land kind of straight down, nose first. And if you look, everything is kind of thickened up and reinforced a little bit in those areas where you're going to have a higher impact. And that was designed like that intentionally, which is actually pretty smart. Also, so this is the bottom plate, the bottom frame. Inside here, and I don't know how well you can see it on this camera. Again, I'm using my GoPro and not my good camera. The frame that supports the motor, it's actually kind of comes up to a point, kind of like a roof of a house. It's coming up kind of like this. So I would say, in theory, that would allow for the downward force of the propulsion, the prop wash, to kind of spread out a little bit more and be a little bit more aerodynamic for when the props are pushing downward. Versus if it was just flat, it might kick back up and cause you some prop wash issues. So we'll see how that works. Again, I haven't flown this yet. I haven't even built this yet, which is what we're going to do here shortly, is get this all put together, and then we will test fly it. So let's go ahead and let's get started on building this. Okay, so before we get to building this, here is one thing I do want to make clear. I'm not going to be going through and doing like an extensive build. It's pretty much everything is already built. It's already soldered up. It's ready to go. I'm just going to assemble it. That's it. I'm not going to do like a build video in a sense. It's just going to be slapping it together and then going to take it out and we're going to fly it. That's it. Okay. So here, let me do this right quick for you. Just going to show you what it weighs. If this thing will zero out, there it goes. Okay, so there we go. So 94, 95 grams. That's what it weighs. And this guy here weighs in at 55 grams. So you're talking 40 grams difference. Now you add these two, and I'm not adding any hardware to either one, so we're just looking at purely the frame. And that's coming in at 125. So you can see it goes up 30 grams by adding the ducts to it to make it more secure, more stable, all that fun, lovely stuff. All right, so I'm just going to fast forward through all this. I'm going to slap it together, and yeah, so enjoy. Okay, so here we go. One 3D printed quad. Now, I got to figure out what to do up here for a GoPro mount. I am anxious to get out there and fly it and see how it does. So now to actually find a GoPro mount for this, I will probably jump into Mount Maker and see what I can do. See what I can figure out at least. So this is going to be the first flight of the Flex Owl. It's been getting a lot of rain and it's very windy out, so I'm down kind of in a hilly area. So I'm hoping that blocks a lot of the wind. So let's see how she does, huh? All right, so first thing I noticed was that the even after, I don't know what, a minute or two for me to go pick it up, the motors were extremely hot. I kept the same build on it, the same tune that I had on my Green Hornet that I took these off of. So it just means I got to tune it up a little bit. Probably something with probably with the filtering. I got to change up a little bit. When I was flying it, I did see a lot of jello in my goggles, so that's telling me that getting some oscillation, stuff like that. So I think a good tune on it will probably take care of it. All right, so that was my video for the first flight on the Flex Owl. I appreciate you watching my video, and please hit that subscribe and like button. Comment if you have any suggestions or recommendations on what I should do, or even what I should print for the next one. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.